storm chances on the rise. Every hour that goes by brings an increasing potential for damaging winds, hail, or a tornado. I'll walk you through what to expect.
Then, failed protections. A record number of domestic violence victims were killed in North Carolina last year. Hear the emotional story of one family looking for justice. And coverage crunch. How state workers are bracing for higher premiums as the health plan faces a $500 million gap.
All right, take a look. Everything looks pretty good on the radar right now in our area, but that's not going to last. This big old system over here to the west is heading our way, and it's going to be here sometime in the next few hours. Thank you for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. Now, look, it could get rough tonight in some areas, damaging wind gusts, lightning, maybe even some hail. We got Kat out in the azalea garden. Right now, 7 o'clock, everything looks good. It's going to change around 9 o'clock tonight. Am I right?
It's going to be late tonight. You're right, Dan. It's well after sunset that we have the threat for storms, and they'll start out pretty isolated initially, and then overnight is when we really have the even better chance. There is the threat for severe weather. It's a level 1 out of 5. All those tornado warnings that you saw on the national map, though, that was in the area that was under a level 3 threat. So we are going to see this line of storms weaken as it moves closer to us. That's the good news here. Let's talk about the timing. A brand new run of Futurecast showing some showers perhaps in our northern counties closer to 9 o'clock, and then after midnight we'll watch for some hit or miss thunderstorms to move in. But it's really during the overnight hours when you may be woken up to the thunder and lightning that we have the better chance of rain and storms. 5, 6, 7 a.m. If you've got an early morning commute, you could be impacted by these storms. But as we move on ahead toward 9 a.m., we do start to see some improvements for the main morning commute. So the later you leave the house in the morning, the lower your storm chances will be. You'll definitely want to check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner before you head out. I'll have a closer look at the big changes that will follow behind this system for the holiday weekend coming up.
All right, we'll check back in, Kat. Thank you. Some new data from the State Bureau of Investigation shows 155 people died from domestic violence in our state last year. That is the most since 2008. Of course, these stats are about more than numbers, aren't they? They represent people and families. WRAL Sean Gallagher shares the story of a victim and her family in Durham.
I started choking her.
It's a troubling start down the road for justice for Nicole Bullock's family.
Devastating, man, honestly.
Her brother Jonathan hearing her final moments retold during the first day of testimony in the trial against Rodney Crawford.
I just feel like the system failed her.
Court records show Crawford had a history of abusing Bullock. Twice he was convicted of assaulting her.
Nicole's murder was a culmination of years of abuse she suffered at the defendant's hands.
At the time she was murdered, she had a protective order against Crawford.
What's the purpose of the order of protection if this still happened? I don't understand.
A plea echoed time and time again.
Clearly doesn't work. It didn't work in my situation.
Jill Rohner is still coming to grips with her reality.
But there are still some down days, and there's still tears that get shed when I'm not even expecting them.
Wednesday marks 4 months since her boyfriend John Rowe was killed by her ex-husband. Years of protective orders that did no good.
10 years, 11 years, 12 years on probation for 3 years. And it's still just a piece of paper.
The newest data from the SBI shows 155 domestic violence murders last year, a new record. 6 of those had a protective order against their murderer, and 3 of those active at the time.
I just think something, somewhere, somehow, things fell through the cracks.
I say that a DVPO can be more than a piece of paper.
At the NC Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Nisha Williams says those orders can open doors to other resources to help protect victims.
So it can increase the safety and also help the survivor separate from the abuser in an immediate situation versus having to go to court and litigate issues.
Finding a path of protection, a path Jackson encourages for survivors at any cost, before it's too late, like it was for his sister.
Because at the end of the day, this is reality. This could happen. Someone can take your life. So protect yourself at all costs.
Sean Gallagher, WRAL News, Durham.
we should remind you the best way to get help is finding resources closest to you. The NC Coalition Against Domestic Violence has an interactive map on its website. It's nccadv.org. All 100 counties are listed, as you can see. Clicking on any one of them will show you all the local resources available to you right around the corner. Again, that website is nccadv.org. Let's get caught up tonight on some of the top headlines. Here are the 5 things you should know right now. A whole lot of stuff is in front of the Wake County School Board tonight. 6 high schools could lose some funding next school year. Right now, they get some federal dollars because at least 49% of the student body is considered low income. Well, the district is looking to change that threshold to 75%. The board is also considering a new cell phone policy requiring students to put them away during school hours. You can find some more details on all these ideas at WRAL.com. Jury deliberations picked up again today and then tomorrow as well for the case of a man charged with killing an elderly Home Depot worker. Terry McMillan is accused of pushing 82-year-old Gary Razor in Hillsborough in October of 2022. Razor died a month later because of complications. McMillan could face life in prison without parole if convicted. A man is in custody after a chase across 2 counties today. This morning, Wake County deputies tried to pull a car over on Jones Sausage Road. After stopping to talk to the deputy, the driver sped away. Deputies eventually stopped that car in Johnston County. We're told the charges are pending. First responders in Raleigh could be getting a raise. The city manager's budget proposes an increase of 11% in pay bumps there for police officers and firefighters. And this is, again, all while keeping property tax rates the same. WRAL has covered numerous rallies and protests where police officers and firefighters have demanded higher pay. The public has a chance to weigh in on the proposal during a hearing on June 3rd. And Raleigh is relocating its 4th of July fireworks this year. They'll be at the Lenovo Center in Carter Finley Stadium, that area down there. Gates open at 6 p.m. The fireworks go off at 9:30. The event used to be at Dix Park. You'll probably remember that fiasco because of the weather last year. Hopefully they don't run into anything like that. Let's turn now to a developing story. There's always something popping up around our area, and we love to talk about it here at 7 o'clock. And when it comes to Moore Square in downtown Raleigh, plans for some new development over there have changed a little bit. Today, the city moved forward with some ideas, and they abandoned some other ones. Here's a view of that area from above. This is a map of downtown, and this is the planned development. This is where it would go, the building shaded in yellow right next door to Moore Square. Now, these renderings here of the project came out back in September. They show a new hotel, space for retail and affordable housing, plus a spot for a Raleigh Rescue Mission building. Today, the city moved forward with all that stuff, but now they're scrapping a plan for a new high-rise apartment building. The developer saying the city, telling him it's just not a good time, citing current interest rates. They said about 4,000 rental units have been added in downtown since 2020 in Raleigh. The most recent one opened last month. This tower on Lenore Street, catty corner to Red Hat, has about 300 apartments in it. There are also plans to build 2 high-rise buildings at Dix Park, adding 1,200 apartments. There's also an effort to build a high-rise complex at the corner of Peace and West Streets, right next to Smoky Hollow. This is all because of the high demand to live in Raleigh. Earlier this year, the city put out a strategy to address housing options. It said, quote, there are too few housing units available for the demand to live in our community. But there's a notable difference between all of these projects. Location, location, location. All those towers we just talked about are going in the Glenwood, Dix Park, and right near Red Hat. The tower idea scrapped today was for Moore Square. Over the years, we've seen crime go up and down in that area. We saw several incidents in 2023, and then crime dropped in early 2024, only for a pair of stabbings and a shooting to take place in late 2024. So far this year, in 2025, things have been pretty quiet. The city has introduced all kinds of security measures in that area to keep things safe, and they want to keep it that way. And many of them think bringing more development into that area could actually continue to improve safety.
Anytime you put more people in the area, more eyes in the area, it always improves safety. Well, the area is safe. Across the country, we have challenges with safety, but Raleigh, North Carolina is safe.
So like I said, part of that Moore Square plan will go forward. Another part is now on hold. We're going to keep tracking how all of this progress with that project continues and all the other ones as well in the months and years ahead. Let's shift gears now and get to our quote of the day. I can tell you what they're going to do. Nobody's been able to stop it. That's what Carolina Hurricanes coach Rod Brind'Amour said in a news conference today. He says his team knows what to expect from the reigning champion Florida Panthers. The problem is stopping them. The Canes know firsthand how hard it can be to try and stop the Panthers. Last time Carolina was in the Eastern Conference Final, it was Florida that knocked them out. Thankfully, Game 1 is at home tonight. WRAL's Aaron Thomas joining us live from the Lenovo Center. Puck drop isn't for about an hour or so. Aaron, the Panthers, they're tough. Fans got to feel like this is the year for the Canes to get over that hump, though.
Oh, yeah, listen, you said it best, Dan. Florida Panthers are indeed a tough team to beat, but we've been trying to get a pulse of what these fans feel like ahead of puck drop, and a lot of them, the sentiment that we're getting is that they feel confident knowing that this year's Carolina Hurricanes team is a bit younger, they play a bit more harder than we've seen in previous seasons, so they're going into this new series a bit more confident than they were 2 years ago. Let's check out some of the fan experience that we got earlier this evening. There's definitely a lot of hype going into this game. The tailgate is where we see our share of pregame rituals. You have people in the fan zone and people wearing good luck clothing. We ran into fans wearing an Evil Kane, Evil style jumpsuit, and others showing off a full collection of playoff rally towels like battle flags. There's one thing about the Canes fan base, it's that they take their pre-game traditions seriously.
We just want to show that we are fans and that we appreciate the guys, and we have been here and will continue to be here to support them.
And that was Darlene Schultes and her husband. They told me that they've been collecting those playoff towels that you see dating back to the Canes' arrival as a team here in Raleigh. They allowed us to join them on their towel island. And of course, we will be sure to see our fair share of those towels spinning during the pregame when the puck drops tonight at 8 o'clock.
You know, and we should just remind people how, evenly matched these teams are. The last time that they faced, it was a series where we went to 4 overtimes. We lost that one, so fans got to really want to win this one bad for a lot of reasons tonight.
Oh, yeah, and Dan, I can attest to the fact that I actually covered that game. With those 4 overtimes, we were here well past 2 in the morning. Definitely a history in the making. It was the longest running game in franchise history, as well as the 6th longest game in NHL history. So will we see a repeat of that tonight or throughout the series? We have yet to see that. Sports is unpredictable, but we'll definitely have a lot of Canes fans that are excited about what's to come heading into this Eastern Conference Final run.
All right, we'll let you get to it. Aaron Thomas, live at the Lenovo Center. Thank you, Aaron. Hundreds of thousands of North Carolinians are on the state health plan, and it's about to get more expensive for all of them. How much the price goes up, though, depends on how much money you make. But lawmakers say they have some other ways to save money on health care. Some interesting ones. We'll talk about it after the break.
This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center, and all new at 7 o'clock. In the past 30 minutes, we've learned that a Fayetteville man has been charged with murdering an infant. This is 21-year-old Darrell Evans, Jr., and deputies in Cumberland County say on May 8th they were called to Cape Fear Valley Medical Center in reference to an infant that had a traumatic brain injury. And apparently that infant, they say, had been in Evans' care that day. The baby died the next day, and the autopsy has revealed that it was homicide, according to the medical examiner's office. Evans is facing charges tonight, including first-degree murder and felony child abuse. He's being held at the Cumberland County Detention Center without bond.
Just awful. All right. Thank you, Brian. Healthcare costs will soon increase for state workers, retirees, and their families. And that's going to mean bigger monthly bills for about 750,000 people here in our state. But state leaders have some other ideas, some other ways that you can save some money. I discussed the new plan with WRAL state government reporter Will Doran. All right, well, let's get to it here. How much more are state workers going to have to pay for health care, and why exactly are those costs going up?
Yeah, Dan, this isn't just a state problem. Healthcare costs are going up for everybody across the board, but for the state health plan, this means that they are now $500 million in the red, and they believe that everyone is going to have to pay more so that the state stops losing money. Deductibles are going to go up for everybody. If you're on the basic plan, your deductible is going to double. Premiums will also be rising for folks, and that is going to be on a tiered system that's based on exactly how much you earn, so that higher earners will be paying higher premiums.
Now, cheap healthcare has really been a key recruiting pitch for state government jobs for years. How concerned are state leaders about now asking workers to pay more?
Yeah, it is definitely a concern, but they were quick to point out today that even if these hikes that are being proposed do end up going into effect, state workers are going to still be paying far less than what many people in the private sector pay for their own insurance. Right now, state workers pay either $25 or $50 a month for their healthcare premiums. That might go up $5 a month for more lowly paid employees, although for the highly paid employees, that could nearly triple. There's also an interesting new plan in the works that they say could potentially lead to savings for people on the state health plan, including possibly free surgeries.
Okay, let's get into that for just a second, because free surgery sounds a little too good to be true. How do they propose doing something like that?
Yeah, it is a novel plan that we have not tried here in North Carolina before, but basically they would pick certain doctors who would be guaranteed to have a steady stream of people on the state health plan coming into their offices for work to be done, and in return for being in that program, the state health plan would pay them less money than it normally does. And they would also get rid of prior authorization, meaning that those doctors and the patients would have to spend just a whole lot less time fighting with insurance companies over the work to be done. They could just get more work done more quickly. They believe that doctors will earn more money, that the state health plan could save millions of dollars and could pass those costs on in the form of cheaper health care. So while it might not be totally free, it could at least be close to zero.
All right. Well, it's big changes, sounds like, ahead for teachers, state workers, and everyone else on the state health plan. Well, we appreciate you keeping us up to date. Let's get outside. Meteorologist Kat Campbell, get us ready for some big weather overnight, Kat.
We're going to be watching these storms move in overnight. They'll cross into the North Carolina mountains first. Keep in mind the areas that you see that are under the tornado watches, which are the bigger red boxes and all the warnings, they are under a level 3 severe weather threat. We're under a level 1, so 2 tiers lower. It shouldn't be this widespread of a threat, and that's because we're going to lose a lot of the energy overnight, but there's still going to be a lot of the other ingredient needed for severe weather, and it's called wind shear. So let's talk about the timing of these storms. We're watching a warm front lift to the north, so we could see an isolated storm later tonight after midnight, especially as we get closer to midnight per se, and then once we get overnight, that's when the line of storms should move in. This is going to be moving in from the west, likely between about 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's going to be the window with the best chance of rain and thunderstorms, and we'll watch for perhaps a lingering storm for the early morning commuters. By 8 a.m., 9 a.m., though, we do at least see some improvements for the main morning commute. By lunchtime, things quiet down, but during the early afternoon, we could see a couple of thunderstorms develop, a couple of showers. These would mainly be from the triangle and points north. I think that we may end up with a little bit more activity than what that run of Futurecast shows. Looking ahead past that front, though, we really cool down just in time for Memorial Day weekend. Check out these lows. We dip down into the 50s again, even down to 52 Saturday morning. It's really going to feel nice at night. Good bonfire weather as we get toward Memorial Day weekend. Shouldn't be too much of an issue, especially with all the rain that we've seen lately. But tomorrow morning, it's still going to be quite warm, 67 degrees when you wake up first thing in the morning. Take a look at the highs. They're going to take a dip as well. 76 Saturday and Sunday, Monday 77. But as we get into early next week, temperatures have a lot of variability on the models, so stay tuned for updates. We have pretty good confidence now that there will at least be some rain and storms for Memorial Day. Yesterday it was a 30% chance. Today it's a 40% chance. Temperatures are the big question mark for Monday. Saturday still looks dry, rising chances late Sunday. That's the key into the evening and night. And on Monday, scattered thunderstorms. It still doesn't look like a washout. It still looks scattered. We just aired our WRAL 2025 hurricane season forecast. That is up on WRAL.com. Be sure to check it out. A couple of really interesting points for what we could expect locally. 88 the high tomorrow. It's a warm day. Just a 30% chance of a storm is what we have down, since the bulk of the rain's going to happen before a lot of people wake up in the morning. Then things quiet down for us by Friday and Saturday. Monday and Tuesday we'll watch for some thunderstorms again. Dan.
All right, Kat, thank you. One last thing to talk about tonight, an important anniversary for the North Carolina Highway Patrol. This day in North Carolina history, right after the break. One last thing we want to mention. Today marks 96 years since the start of the North Carolina Highway Patrol. Check out this old picture of one of the very first Highway Patrol cars in our state. Imagine getting tailed down by that thing on the highway. The agency started May 20th, 1929. The first candidates met in Morehead City. In all, 67 people were selected to attend the first Highway Patrol training school. 6 weeks later, 37 of them took the oaths of office. And just last month, the Highway Patrol welcomed their 165th graduating class. This adds 46 new troopers to the force. Governor Josh Stein gave a speech. The troopers joined their respective stations on May 14th to undergo some more training. We appreciate all of the hard work and dedication they give to this state. Thank you for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and back here on WRAL tonight at 11. Have a great evening.